You gotta make it special, you know. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to K-Fape Talks. I'm Owen, and I got my co-hosts Ethan and Thomas. And boys, we had an amazing day yesterday because we went and watched AEW live. Like we actually went there, and it was sick. I had fun.
According, we were at according to Tony Khan, Charleston.
And according to Ricochet, North Carolina. But it was a fun event. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you agree, Thomas? Given it was your first AEW event.
Absolutely. I had a blast, at the North Charleston Coliseum there in North Charleston. Obviously, it's in the name, so of course that's where it was. But
Mhm.
like Ethan said, it was kind of funny because technically they are two separate cities, but close enough. Tony Khan did his best there. But yeah,
Sure.
going to first ever AEW show live in person, 3 hour special. We had 2 hours of Dynamite and then an hour of Collision.
Mm-hmm.
To lead up to Saturday's Fairway to Hell special. They got an hour there over on TBS. So it was just really cool. Saw a lot of great matches. Obviously, we're going to break this whole card down, so I don't want to spoil anything right now before getting the preview, just talking about our experience. But overall, I had a great experience. I thought it was really cool how Tony Khan came out both before and after the show. Talked about the fans. Obviously, there was some remembering Ted Turner that we'll get into here in a minute. And just making it a quality environment, I guess is what I'll call it, because the arena was very nice. It was a venue that neither of us had been
Mm-hmm.
to before. I know it's where the Carolina Stingrays played minor league hockey. I had never been to a game of theirs, so being in the arena, that was really cool. Very, very small crowd, but still very loud. And saw, like I said, saw a lot of great wrestling. Crowd size doesn't matter if the matches are bangers, and it was still very loud for how little people were there. So all in all, great experience. I honestly think going to a fifth SmackDown next week in Columbia. I've been to four previously. This being my first AEW show, I think honestly I'd put this number one as the best wrestling show of the five wrestling shows I've been to. The SmackDown in Charlotte, North Carolina, that I went to with Logan was really good as well. Seeing Randy Orton and Tiffany Stratton qualify for the Elimination Chamber, and obviously got to see our boy Trick as well as my guy Cody Rhodes. But I think as far as just pure battle bell wrestling goes, this was the number one show that I've been to so far and seen with my own two eyes in person.
We got him. Can't take that
it
back.
was a banger.
You can't take that
Much
back.
uh, pleasure, I guess I'll say, because for a long time, and I kind of told you guys this on the drive up. That's kind of more doing it more so just to mess with Ethan, but I would just hate on AW relentlessly. But now I'm 100% AW believer. It is a fantastic company. Tony Khan,
Believer.
it does a phenomenal job booking the matches. Obviously, like I said, we'll get into those here in a minute. But just all around a bell to bell, just a solid show.
Mm-hmm. Ethan, what'd you think?
to be honest, I think that was probably one of the best um events for wrestling I'd ever been to. I mean, it was just fun constantly. The only negative was that it was very hard to stay awake because we had such a long drive to get there and everything.
It wasn't
But
that long.
it was pretty long. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I got to see a lot of wrestlers I haven't before, and some I have, obviously. But yeah, it was a great watch. I'm glad I went, and I hope to see them again very soon. Maybe with some superstars we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I liked it. I want to say it's one of my favorites. I don't know if it's my favorite. Just a lot of recency bias, but I thoroughly had a blast, and the fact that I can speak right now to is a win in my book because I was losing my voice last night and this morning because it was still kicking in. But I had an absolute blast. The venue itself was pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. I was surprised by how good the venue was. I was disappointed in the crowd size, though. I mean, there was nobody in the upper bowl. I don't know if they did that on purpose, like AW didn't sell those tickets, or just no one bought it. you know, I don't know which one it was, but I mean, the crowd was still absolutely loud. I mean, especially like, well, we'll get into later with Ricochet. Couldn't hear him at all. Like that place was rocking, given how small it was. Um,
Yeah, the voice has definitely traveled well. The sound
Absolutely.
throughout. It was definitely very loud in there, and obviously you talked about the venue. We had some great food beforehand as well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, me and you got some. Oh, you got a cheeseburger. I think it was me and Ethan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
Hot
good
dog.
cheeseburger.
I dropped $20 on concessions.
Mm-hmm.
You never want to spend much money, but you kind of had to, being at a venue like that. And then, even waiting in line, like the line wasn't really that long.
But we were
Just
there
outside.
early. We
I
were
Yeah.
know,
there
but
very early.
with the crowd being small, even if we hadn't been, it wouldn't have been that much of a big deal. But yeah, obviously our view was great.
Our view was
Staying
amazing.
in section 114, row A, like best view I've ever had at any wrestling show.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will say in Raleigh, whenever me, Logan, Ethan went, different Ethan, not the one
Yeah. Not
present.
me.
Yeah, we did have club seats, and that was a really good view as well. But you obviously that was a bit farther back than where we were.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely got to post some pictures of our view on our Instagram so people can see where we're at because it was pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for that cheap of a price too. I believe it was about like 63 bucks a
Mm-hmm.
ticket, something like that.
Yeah, it was very cheap given where we were. Next on the list, we have to get front row. We
One of
have to
these
get
days,
front row one day. Definitely not for WWE. That'd be fun, but that's a lot of money.
even more expensive.
Yeah, I think one front row ticket, like for AEW, is like a lower bowl price for WWE. I think like it's a lot cheaper than WWE. So
100%.
thank you, Tony Khan, for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we talked about our experience. We all had a blast. I think we gotta get into this show because it was a 3 hour show. There was a dark match. I mean, it was a dark match. It was fine.
Couldn't tell you who was in it.
Sting's son. That's all I know.
Okay,
That was all
yeah,
I know. I couldn't
I
tell
did
you.
hear a fan say that.
Yeah,
I was not aware that that was his son. I was like, oh,
I
cool.
I couldn't tell you anyone else in that match.
Yeah, I don't even know his name. Hence why we're calling him Sting's son.
What was his name? Steve Borden. I think that was what it was.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
That does ring a
He did
bell,
good. He did good.
he did do good. He actually did really well. And then the heel in the dark match as well was
That's
pretty
funny.
funny.
Yeah, saying South Carolina sucks, so we were booing him. I told
Yeah,
him, I said, and I yelled back at him. I was like, I don't even know what state you're from, but I bet it sucks.
and I told
So
Thomas it's not that
yeah,
deep.
yeah, he did his job well. He was getting under my skin.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, you started like reacting and everything. You were, I think it was like, you better not come back in my state or something like
Yeah,
that.
I
I
told him, I was
read.
like, you don't talk about my state like that. And like I said, I told him what state he's from. It probably sucks. So
Yeah. So we started the show off to a sad note as we had a tribute to the late great Ted Turner. Without him, the Braves would not be where they are. You know, the Braves would not be at the national stage and just they'd still be, only shown in Georgia. And I guess he helped with WCW, TBS, TNT, all that jazz.
like I
I
said, I thought we
guess.
kind of have to talk. Obviously, I see you're wearing the Braves hat,
I
but
always
with
wear
this
the
being,
Braves hat.
talk a little more about his wrestling impact, man. Freaking
I
God,
guess. I guess he
cable
helped with. I
television.
guess he helped with that too.
I
But
may not be the biggest WCW fan, but
yeah,
definitely had a big impact on professional
I was.
wrestling.
I mean, it
Going
was
to the team.
it was a bit, but yeah,
Yeah,
I was doing a bit, but okay, bro. Um,
take you so seriously.
Tony Schiavone came out and said some nice words about Ted Turner, and then he was talking about he was going to bring someone out, a legend, Someone who was in WCW with, Ted Turner. What helped the wrestling business grow. I don't know why I thought this, other than the fact he said those things and we were in the Carolinas. I said, oh my God, it's Ric Flair. It was not Ric Flair. It was Sting, as Tony Schiavone would say.
Mm-hmm.
That was sick.
Yeah.
Thomas got to see Sting in his first ever AW show.
Yeah, that was cool.
So did we, but like he was barely there. He was there for like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
So that was sick.
and especially because his former tag partner, his mentee, he took under his wing when he signed in AEW. Darby Allin had a match later that night, so he kind of made it a point as well to not just remember the late great Ted Turner for all his contributions. Created CNN, which was one of the first cable news networks. Obviously, we mentioned his work at WCW and the Atlanta Braves. Owen mentioned, but also put Darby Allin over as well, and was like, you're gonna get to see Darby Allin wrestle tonight, and that's what Ted would have wanted you here for. Is it's live on TBS, live on HBO Max around the world, and that's just kind of the impact he had. Pro wrestling. Back in the day, obviously we weren't alive at the
Yeah.
time. But, was very regional, and he played a big part alongside Vince McMahon, obviously in WWE, of making it not just regional. Like you said, obviously the Braves were only shown in Georgia, but they became a national brand because of TBS and Turner. So, wrestling, especially with WCW, taken worldwide and has soared to heights never seen before. And, he also put over Tony Khan because he said he's so glad to have not just one billionaire that's willing to ride or die for pro wrestling, but two. And that Tony Khan, is willing to do whatever it takes to make this a successful business in all elite wrestling. And, obviously him being there as well, and doing the 10 bell salute, just paying homage to those who came before him, and he continues to carry the torch as well. So I thought that was really cool. Obviously, great to see a legend, great to see Sting. Seeing him and Darby in the same night was pretty freaking cool. And remembering Ted Turner and all the great things he's done for the wrestling business as well.
Yeah. Ethan, what'd you think of the segment?
I mean, obviously, it's an in memoriam, so I mean, it's not like oh my gosh, it's a more respectful thing. Obviously, Sting, awesome. I also thought it was going to be Ric Flair. Would have been really cool, but I think his contract has been up with AEW for a while. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, really cool segment seeing Sting, especially for Thomas's first AEW. And R.I.P. Ted Turner, because like they said on the show, without him, they probably wouldn't even be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kept saying that obviously, in the 80s and whatnot, that they'd have meetings at CNN and they'd be like, hey, like, this wrestling thing, like, we're in the red, we're losing money, like, you should probably just get rid of this. And he was very adamant, like, no, like, we're keeping pro wrestling on television, and we're making it accessible for everybody to watch. So definitely a pioneer in that regard.
Yeah. Moving on, we start with our opening match, which was the AEW Continental Championship Eliminator match between Jon Moxley and Juice Robinson. I loved this match. I thought this was a great match. A lot too much biting though. That was kind of weird. I'll be
Yeah,
honest. That was weird. What is it with AW and biting?
and the
Like
hand pulling. I
genuinely.
don't like that move.
But genuinely, what is it with AW and biting? I don't
I
I
don't
don't
know.
get it. I think someone bit someone later in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did
I was like, what is
in the Orange Cassidy's match.
it was weird. But it was a great match. Glad my boy got the dub. Jon Moxley. Yes. It's my guy. One of probably second place. But that's my guy. So I was rooting for him. Glad he won. He walked like I want to say right in front of us, but he was pretty close. We were
Yeah, you were able to get good pictures, I saw.
yeah.
Yeah,
Why zoom in? I zoomed in on all those photos. So
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, they weren't
yeah,
too
they were
far away.
great though. Yeah, it was really cool. Thomas, what did you think of the match?
Yeah, like you said, great match. I successfully predicted that John Moxley would open the show. I just had a feeling because Death Riders typically, whether it's Collision or Dynamite, open quite a good bit. So I was like, I could really see it being Orange Cassidy or John Moxley, and obviously, they kind of flip flop there with
Mhm.
Cassie in the second match after Moxley. But like you said, just a banger match. It looked for a second there like Juice Robinson really was going to earn himself a title shot because he came out and he was just ready. He was throwing all the heavy artillery that he could at John Moxley. He hit him with the Hurricanrana off the top rope. Looked like he was going to get a pin there, but John kicked out for a near fall. And then, like you said, Mox had Juice up on the ropes, and I think he bit his ear, maybe? I don't know.
No,
Uh,
oh, I
I know
know.
he bit him. I'm trying to,
Yeah,
like, it was like on his
I know
head or his
Juice
ear.
bit
But,
Mox on the face. I don't know where Mox bit
yeah.
Juice.
But I know they both bit each other. Like you said, that was kind of strange. But I mean, whatever. It is what it is. It's AEW. They kind of incorporate more of that WCW, ECW type of style. That's makes them so different from WWE. And we saw Mox get busted open. His nose is bleeding.
No, that
Juice
was
is
his
beating.
face.
Uh,
I think it
oh
was
yeah.
His nose wasn't
right
bleeding.
here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we saw him bleed a little bit. So obviously, again, just showing the aggression of the match. And then Mox, it looked like he was gonna get a win by pinfall whenever he first he hit a cutter
Mhm.
that Juice kicked out of, and then later on in the match he hit a pile driver. So I don't know how Juice kicked out of that, but ended up winning by submission. So that was really cool to see. Typically most matches, especially on, I feel like, a free television match, I guess is what I'll call it, and in pinfall. So to see him get the win by the Bulldog choke was very cool. Again, loves seeing him come out through the crowd as he always does. I love his theme. It's so cool. So to be able to see him for the first time and see him get a win, because obviously I know you said he's your second favorite in AEW. He's one of my favorites as well,
Mhm.
and really big fan of him and the Death Riders. I think they're probably
Mhm.
the coolest and just best faction overall in AEW. So really happy to see him pick up the win and do it in that fashion. Like I said, with that Bulldog choke, got to see all his moves. Got to see the cutter, got to see the power driver, and then again some shenanigans in there with all the biting.
Yeah.
Mhm. Ethan, what'd
Such
you
a
think?
strange. Uh, it feels weird just saying, but like, yeah, they bit each other.
Yeah. Ethan, what'd you think?
Really good, strong opener. Thomas did predict that John Moxley was going to open the show match wise, and he was right. Um, yeah, the biting was a little weird, as well as whenever they like bend the finger back like this. I hate that move. It hurts my hand.
Then don't do it to yourself. What are you doing?
Uh,
Well, you said it hurts your hand, but
Yeah,
I've never
seeing
seen
them do
anyone
it.
do that to you.
I guess so, bro.
I'm on to you.
Um, yeah, really fun match. I'm trying to remember what all happened in that match. Other than a lot of biting
Yeah, you hadn't really
and
woken up.
chops.
You're still
So
kind of
many chops.
Those
But
chops were loud.
those were some loud chops. But the louder ones were with Okada. But
Well, yeah.
yeah, pretty solid match from what I remember.
Hmm.
Sorry guys, my head. Sorry audience, my head is kind of hurting right now.
all you need to know. Good opener and the
Mox
right guy
over.
on.
Yep.
Nothing against Juice.
No, I like
Again, he's
Juice. He's good.
it
Yeah.
looked for a second there like he was going to earn himself a title shot.
Yeah.
And I am curious to see. Last thing I'll say about this match, because obviously Juice didn't win and what was a highly contested match, ended up getting choked out. is I'm interested to see whether or not Mox will defend that AW Continental title at Double or Nothing in 2 weeks' time in New
Yeah.
York because they got a week to, I guess, quote unquote, build a feud. And obviously, AW, they don't really do long builds, kind of like how WB does. Like a match can just happen out of nowhere. And so it'll be very interesting to see if he's on that card. I imagine he would be,
Hmm.
being one of the faces of AW. So
Mhm.
very excited to see who his opponent is, should he have one at Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on to our next match. It was Orange Cassidy. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freshly squeezed. Freshly squeezed.
Hmm.
Versus Dax Harwood. First off, the entrances. Let's go. I
Oh.
I don't think I have yet to stand up that fast since I saw John Cena. I mean, when Adam Copeland's music hit, because I was not expecting it, I shot up out of my seat. That
That
was
is
sick.
true.
I'd never seen Adam Copeland, and I really wanted to hear his theme in person.
Mhm.
Same as Ethan, obviously same as Thomas because he's newer. But
Metalingus, baby. Alter
yep,
Bridge.
Yes, sir.
I was hyped, and obviously Ethan and I have seen Christian before. Thomas, that was
Yeah, we
cool.
saw him
That
at our
was
first.
yeah, it was cool that Thomas got to see Christian. We got to see Tomasa Champa. It was cool. I wasn't expecting it to be, a whole freaking party.
A lot of people ringside.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that
Very
was insane.
I
in that
mean,
match.
that was a lot, but it was a good match nonetheless. I liked it. It was, I mean, considering what it followed, it did a good job, in my
Hmm.
opinion. Thomas, since this is your boy, you'll go first. What you
Yeah,
think?
like I said, freshly squeezed, man. He was able to pick up the win, huge win because this was a double Jeopardy match.
Yep.
Obviously, it was a singles match. At first, I was confused because Ciampa was in his ring gear, standing in the ring. I was like, "Is this somehow a tag match?" And I just wasn't aware. But then, he stepped out, and it turned to singles action pretty quickly because if Orange Cassidy won, which he did,
Hmm.
congrats to him. Love to see it. He and a member of the conglomeration, I imagine it'll be Roderick Strong, earned a title shot against FTR for the AW tag team titles. And if Dax were to win, which obviously he did not, saying Orange Cassidy was the winner, then him and Tommaso Ciampa and just the rest of FTR as a whole would have taken on the conglomeration for the world trio title. So regardless of who won, somebody was getting a title shot and
Hmm.
Yeah.
having the opportunity to become a double champion. Now, will Orange Cassidy and the conglomeration win the tag titles? Probably not,
Yeah.
because I think uh Coop and Cage are gonna win them at Double or Nothing. That's just my personal opinion. However,
Yeah.
I'm still very excited to see the match. I know they're gonna put on a banger. Obviously, OC and Roderick Strong are great wrestlers, as is our FTR. Again, Dax did a really good job of just playing the heel role in this match because you saw, and Grant, he had help as well, but you saw them trying to throw the ring bell in there. Luckily, the ref was able to see it, but just a lot of really good action. Just back-to-back banger matches to open the show. Obviously with Mox and then Orange Cassidy because we saw him hit the orange punch not once but twice. Dax unfortunately did kick out both times. I
Yeah.
thought the second time he was over.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
and both times, he was just decked to the floor, like sent flying backwards by Orange Cassidy. And then, like I said, doing the freshly squeezed chance was really fun. Obviously, the crowd was very behind him, and it ended up in a roll up, which I was very surprised.
Yeah.
With all the hitting they were doing, all the fighting ringside, like because the ref kept getting distracted, so um, Dax's team, kept bashing OC on the outside. They slapped him in the face whenever he was on the ropes, just doing all this stuff to try and throw him off his game. But he was able to get the best of Dax, and he was on the ropes and did a roll up for the 3 counts. So glad to see him get the win. Obviously, saw him hit his signature DDTs that he always does. Really cool how he kind of twists his body around
Mm-hmm.
for reversal to get into that DDT. Again, seeing the orange punch not once but twice. Very cool. Saw him put his hands in his pockets to the drop kick. Just all the moves you want to see in an Orange Cassidy match, we got to see. So,
Yeah.
and on top of it all, got to hear "Where Is My Mind" not just once on his entrance music, but twice as well because he won. And then, after the fact, we saw Adam Copeland hit a spear. So that was
Yeah.
all Nick. And like you said, the pop for his entrance was crazy when Metalinga started playing. So
Mm-hmm.
just all in all, great match. Glad to see my guy Orange Cassidy get the win, and now has another title shot, an opportunity to become a double champion.
Mm-hmm. Ethan, what'd you think?
It was a very good match. Probably the second best match of the night, to be honest. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the entrances was not expecting, the Young Bucks, Adam Copeland, and Christian Cage to show up. But I should have figured once, FTR showed up and they had all their group and, Ciampa with them as well. But, yeah, very fun, because the last time we saw OC, he was in the cast, right?
He was in a
No, the last
sling.
time no, that was the first time. The last
Yeah.
time we saw him when we were in Chicago, he just came out for like Ring of Honor and he didn't even do anything.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it was very fun. Obviously, see him do his little gimmick is always fun. That I know of, at least from on TV, it was always fun to see. But yeah, very fun match. A lot of spots as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of spots. Like the suicide dive was awesome, even though it got countered. A lot of shenanigans. I thought with because the FTR like had like a ring bell or something, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought one of them was gonna hit their head, and they didn't. That's crazy. That they just had so much going on. But yeah,
Yeah. Before we move on, Ethan, was that the first time we'd seen the Young Bucks?
I believe so because like, obviously they weren't allowed on Collision, but I don't remember them in the first show. I don't at
Yeah,
all.
I thought so. I don't know. We have to rewatch Rampage. We haven't gotten to that yet. So
Go let my dogs in the door. They're
It's fine.
barking.
you're good. So I think that was our first. I feel like that's wrong, but I don't remember them. But anyway, moving
Yeah,
on.
I don't.
Fun match. And we move on to our next match. Hold on. Did I miss it? Yes. One of the few segments we will talk about next was when Chris Jericho and Ricochet came face to face. Fortunately, we didn't hear Judas.
Nope.
That was a disappointment. We were all really looking forward to that, especially Thomas.
Mm.
Yeah, at least I got to see him though. So happy
Yeah.
about that.
Um, Ricochet came out, and when he spoke, again, not a lot of people. One of the loudest boos I've ever heard in person. Could not hear
Yeah.
a word that man was saying. Legitimately. I couldn't hear anything. I don't know about y'all. Did y'all hear anything?
Yeah,
No.
all I heard the whole promo was, as Ethan mentioned at the top of the show, uh, was that he called South Carolina, North Carolina. He was like, "Oh, we're in Charleston, North Carolina," and then we booed even louder. And then
Yeah.
after that,
That
we
was
really
like
couldn't
all
hear.
I
So.
that was all I
And
heard.
Jericho was encouraging it too. Jericho's waving his hand like keep him coming, keep him coming. So I thought it was really funny how he was playing to the crowd. And like you said, he came out backstage and he's like, "Oh, the time for talk is over. Come meet me in the ring." So like, oh my gosh, they're about to have a match. Sadly, they did not have a match, but it was still
No.
very cool to see because obviously some big news of them setting up a match at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, I was about to get to that, and that was the fact that other than I couldn't hear, all I heard was him say North Carolina. I also heard him say Stadium Stampede, which is gonna be awesome. I've yet to see one because we didn't buy the pay per view it was on, but
Yeah.
I'm intrigued because they're not gonna be at MetLife, at least like in terms of like the actual venue for Double or Nothing. So And usually, if they're not, it's anarchy in the arena. That's what it's called. It's essentially the same thing. They just beat the mess out of each other anywhere. But I remember seeing the highlights of the first one, and so I'm hoping this one will be good, just as good. We know some of Chris Jericho's partners, and that's the Hurt Syndicate. That should be interesting. I'm not gonna say it's bad. I'm just intrigued to see the reasoning and where it's gonna go. That is all. But
Well, they a couple weeks ago on Collision, I watched it. It was the main event. It was a very good match. The Demand ended up winning, but it was the Demand, Chris Jericho, and the Hurt Syndicate in a trios match.
mm,
Ricochet ended up low blowing Chris Jericho and pinning him for the win. But it was a phenomenal match. Jericho put on a show. Shows he's still got it even at 55 years old. Just crazy to watch, especially he did a Hurricanrana, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like
mm-hmm,
he's going strong at 55. Not that that's old by any means, but in athlete terms, that is very old.
mm-hmm,
Uh, Props to him. But yeah, so obviously that's kind of the chemistry they built up there. Again, already had a match together. Still need to find two other partners because Stadium Stampede is 5-on-5, and Jericho himself mentioned he's like, "Oh, I got to find four partners, and if I can, I'll take on all five of y'all myself."
yeah.
So
So
I thought,
needs.
uh,
I was gonna say needs one more, but MVP's not wrestling. I'm dumb.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, Ethan. I know there's not like much to talk about with this one, but what did you think?
No. I'm being honest, I liked it, obviously, what you saw. Wish we sang Judas and everything, but I also wish Sammy Guevara was the one to come out. I really wanted him to come out instead of the Hurt Business Syndicate,
Syndicate.
whatever they are.
Hurt business is done. The hurt business
Yeah,
is
I
dead.
don't remember.
Just
I had a
Hurt.
headache, leave me alone. They hurt people, that's all I know.
That was dumb. I'm sorry. I have to say it. I think that phrase is dumb.
Um,
Good job. You do your job.
but yeah, like I said, it's fun, because the first time we saw Chris Jericho, he was in a backstage segment and then came out in a fight that sprawled into the fans and everything. And then he obviously came out later in the night for Collision, not Collision, Rampage at that time, the Judas, and then he told him to turn off his music because he was a heel. But so when we saw Chris Jericho in a backstage. It brought back a lot of memories, and then he's like, "I'm gonna come out front." I was like that, and that brought a little bit more memory of seeing Chris Jericho for the first time.
Hmm. Yeah, it was a good segment.
Well, second time,
Yeah, we
second
saw him
time.
at
The first time we
SmackDown.
saw him, we saw him at SmackDown. I forgot
Yeah,
about
he
that.
called Ryback Cryback.
My first time seeing it.
Yeah, that was
Break
Thomas's
the
first time.
walls down.
I mean, it was my first time seeing everybody there technically, but obviously Jericho was a big one that I was really hoping to be there,
Hmm.
and it at least from what we saw, because there were only four matches that were advertised. Obviously after the
Yeah.
show started, we found out that Tony Khan released the entire card, but we had not seen that.
Yeah,
We'd only seen, the stuff that was announced, so we had no clue he was going to be there. So whenever I saw him backstage, and especially when he said he was coming to the ring, I was like, "Oh my gosh! Like we're actually gonna see him."
Well, when he
And so,
was backstage, I was like, "Oh man, that sucks." And then he's like, "The time for talk is over." I said, "Never mind."
yeah,
yeah.
I was like, "Please no, don't introduce him to a backstage segment." And then he came out. I was like, "Yes, let's go."
Yeah.
And he was holding his own.
Hmm.
Obviously the Demand, played the numbers game, 3-on-1, put him on his back. But then, like you said, Owen, the Hurt Syndicate came to his aid, came to the rescue, and made the Demand retreat. So hopefully, unlike Dynasty, and unlike that trios match on Collision, Jericho is able to pick up a win at Double or Nothing.
Hmm. Moving on to the next match, we have the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, going against Brian Keith. First of all, I want to say, I don't mean this to sound rude.
He's
I
being mean.
I had never heard of Brian Keith before this.
I hadn't either, so
I don't mean that to be mean. I genuinely had no clue who that was. putting that out there. But I don't know. Good match. First Okada match. Got to see him in
Yeah,
person. That was sick. And I really enjoyed it. Obviously it wasn't like a usual Okada 5-star, but
yeah,
it was
it
still
was
a good
kind
match.
of bad.
Ethan, you seem to know more about Okada than anyone in this podcast. You first.
I also had no idea who his opponent was. I'm just gonna straight up say that I have no idea. I remember seeing him on TV. I just don't remember him. Like I remember seeing the outfit and the hair, but the name didn't click.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a decent match. I do think Bleacher. I think what was it, Thomas? You looked at Bleacher report yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah, they gave it a B plus.
Yeah, I think that was a little too high. I give it maybe a C, C minus.
I
I
gave it a
mean,
C
it was a
plus.
very slow start, but at the end it did pick up, which I was very
Mm-hmm.
happy about. It was just a lot of chops. That
Yeah,
was a lot. They were loud, don't get me wrong. I mean, even when Okada came out at the end, you could still see the red mark on his chest from when he got chopped. But yeah, pretty. It was a solid match. I just wish there was a bit more from Okada for an Okada match, if you know what you know what I mean.
Yeah, for my first time seeing him wrestle in a match in person, I thought it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I was not aware previously of who Brian Keith is, obviously I do now, having watched him
Yeah.
Yeah.
wrestle. Thought his gimmick seemed pretty cool. You know, kind of an offshoot you could tell of Bandito and Hangman Adam Page with the whole Western kind of Texas vibe he was given. Dressed like a
Mhm.
cowboy, obviously calling himself the bounty hunter. But yeah, he put on a really good display. Okada did a really good job making him look good. You know, putting him over. Obviously, we knew he was not going to win. Brian Keith, that is, or more than likely knew he was not going to win. I should say, because obviously anything can happen, especially on live TV when it comes to AEW. Saw how Darby beat MJF a couple weeks ago. But anyways, that's an aside. You know, with the match that Okada has coming up against Takeshita at Double or Nothing for that international championship, because this was a title match.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a limited match like Moxley's was. It was for the belt, and so to see again, just like Juice Robinson did to John Moxley, Brian Keith kind of looked like a real threat to Okada. I think that's a testament to how good of an in-ring worker Okada is at making his opponent look good. Not saying that Brian Keith couldn't look good on his own, but he did do a really solid job. But obviously, Okada plays a big role in that as well. It takes two to tango, and they did a really good job. Obviously, like you said, a lot of action with the chops. Those were super loud. They were loud throughout the whole night, but especially for Okada. And then hit the Rainmaker clothesline to win. That was really cool to see. And even before he did that, hit a couple other clotheslines and did his signature middle finger. So I thought that was really funny. The crowd was loving that. They were just Okada the whole match.
Yeah.
Just so funny to see because not only is he a heel, but he's a member of the Don Callis family. And Don Callis was on commentary, and they were booing Don Callis, saying like "F Don Callis," but meanwhile in the ring cheering Okada. So I'm like, so you hate Don Callis, but you want his wrestler to win? Like that doesn't really make sense to me.
Exactly.
But it's a really good dichotomy and kind of shows how the fan base is split in that regard. Because personally, I don't mind Don Callis. I think he's a pretty good manager. I think he's a funny dude. Obviously, I get why he gets a lot of heat because he is a heel, and his family is a heel faction. But really good match. Again, really cool to see him hit the Rainmaker for the win. Just the whole match, you just kept hearing the people behind us. They were saying like, "Here comes the Rainmaker! Here comes the Rainmaker!" And then he finally
Hmm.
hit. So it definitely delivered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a great match. And so the next match, we have Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander versus Mina Shirakawa and Harley Cameron. Just want to say this is definitely the match where you go to the bathroom. I mean, that in a respectful way. It was a good match, but you could tell just by the crowd and just how they were going about the match. But it was like, you know, gotta go to the bathroom before the main event. Main event, So, But all in all, I mean, it wasn't a bad match. It probably didn't help that it wasn't really a storyline I cared about that much. You know, like the storyline is Chris Statlander and what's your name, Hikaru Shida aren't working as well as a team as they think as they want to be. You know, so I mean, it's like whatever in my opinion. But Ethan, what did you think about the match?
That was alright. I mean, it's probably the worst of the night, but
I wouldn't call it the worst.
yeah.
I know my pick for the worst.
Yeah, I thought it was a solid match.
Yeah.
You know, Bleacher Report gave it a C plus. I think that's fitting. Like it wasn't terrible by any
Yeah.
means, but the only person that really looked strong consistently throughout the entire match was Chris Statlander, and
Yeah.
that's to be expected. She's a former women's world champion in AEW, so there's no surprises here. Hitting suplex after suplex and flexing on the top rope and doing all the things she did. So it was cool to see her wrestle. Obviously Harley Cameron, a former tag team champion in her own right. So anytime you see two people who have done it at the highest level, being forward champions in the ring at the same time, really cool. I thought it was interesting that Sheeta was the one that got the pin for her and Stat's team because, and again, with how strong Stat was looking, I was expecting her to, just do a suplex and then get the 3 count. But regardless, they walked out with the win, and it was a, pretty solid, entertaining match. Obviously, overshadowed by the main event that came after, but,
Yeah.
it did what it needed to do.
Yeah. Speaking of the main event, as I keep saying this just because of a 3 hour show, it was a main event for Dynamite, but I mean, Collision was right after, so it's really hard to call it the main event.
Yeah.
Anyway, the AEW World Championship match: Darby Allin versus the TNT champion, the Jet, Kevin Knight. I will say, going into this, I think we all kind of figured this would be match of the night. Boy, did that match deliver. Oh my goodness. That match was amazing. I love that match. That match was awesome. I could say I could talk about it nonstop, but I'm honestly running out of things to say. But I will say, there was a good moment in the match. I genuinely thought Kevin Knight was about to win. I was like, there's no way Darby kicks out. But I should have thought, it's AEW, that's what they do. They like to, just ruin finishers and, not protect like any of them unless you're an EVP and you want to cry about it. Or Will Ospreay. Honestly, I'm just rage baiting. I really hope it's working. I don't think
No,
it is.
not really.
I
I know
don't.
you're right.
Wasn't to you. It was more to the audience itself. But
It's not working because Darby's finisher worked.
yeah, I know. I'm talking about Kevin Knight here.
Yeah.
But the match, it was amazing. I thought it was like one of the best matches I've ever seen in person.
Yeah, that was amazing.
It was incredible. Thomas, you're the biggest Darby Allin fan. I like Darby Allin. He's probably top 10 for me. I don't know where, but you're the biggest of the group in terms of fan. So let's go for Darby.
Yeah, you said top 10. He's number 2 for me, and it ain't even close. Obviously, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy number 1, but Darby's right there behind him. Seeing him come out, obviously, great theme song. You see him with the skateboard. He's wearing the hooded cloak. Just so much aura. Such a great wrestler. But yeah, I know the exact spot you're talking about. Kevin Knight had him on the ropes, hit a coast to coast, and
Oh, that
then
was sick.
from that coast to coast into a UFO splash. Hit him with back to back what could have been finishers, and the UFO typically is his finisher, and Darby was somehow, some way able to kick out for a fantastic, false finish with a 2 count. And even before that happened, Kevin Knight did a UFO splash onto the announce table and took Darby out. So Darby, has to be hurting bad right now. Not a quick turnaround because he has to defend that title against Pac at Fairway to Hell on Saturday. So 2 title fences in 1 week. He said he's going to go until his body can't anymore with that title, and he's definitely proven it. Like you said, was match of the night, put on a banger. Kevin Knight, a phenomenal performer in his own right. Just 2 of the best in AEW, just going at it. It's really what you want to see. Obviously, Darby retained. Glad to see that, but it, like you said, it did look for a minute whenever he hit that coast to coast and that UFO splash that Kevin Knight was about to become and a two-time champion. Obviously, he already has the TNT title. It looked like he was about to capture the world title there, and Darby, hit him with his signature coffin drop. Had Kevin on the ropes, hit him with a coffin drop, and then as he's laying there, he switched to the other side of the rope, did another coffin drop. So hit him with back-to-back coffin drops for the win. Great to see. And then we also saw that Scorpion Deathlock that he
Mm-hmm.
does as well. So even though he wasn't able to get the submission with that, like how Mox did to open the show, was still really cool to see him go into that move. But obviously, like you said, kind of diluting um, Kevin Knight's finisher there, but at least Darby was able to pick up the win for him.
Mm-hmm. Ethan.
I thought it was a good match. Yeah, not much to really add on, to be honest. But I was looking through the photos and I saw the video of when Thomas was reacting to Orange Cassidy coming out, so that made me laugh. But yeah, it was definitely match of the night, 100%. There's no doubt about it. Like just the way it did start off a little slow. I won't lie, but it quickly picked up, and like when Darby put Knight in the chair on the outside of the ring, I thought he was gonna do a coffin drop from there and hit him. Obviously, it didn't happen, but I mean, it was just insane. They fell on the table, the announce table, coast to coast. It was just amazing and such a good athletic match that you know I would definitely show someone if they go, oh, wrestling's fake. I'm gonna go, yeah, well, watch this. But
Yeah,
I don't know if
I
that would
forgot to
win him
mention
over.
my favorite spot of the match, as many as there were, had to be from Darby whenever he did a sunset flip to Kevin Knight and then immediately transition because Kevin Knight had rolled out of the ring. Immediately transitioned from that sunset flip into a suicide dive,
Mm-hmm.
knocking him into the table. It was just like, man, like he just popped up so quick. And he's just, I kind of made a comment to you, Owen, like just while we were watching it live, that man, like he's just so agile, so quick on his feet. Like, and obviously it helps him that, he is so light. I think he only weighs like
Yeah.
165 pounds. For a wrestler, that is scrawny. So just the fact that he's able to, throw that weight around as much as he does, and just be so light on his feet, but still like so strong in the ring. And obviously, that again, kind of going back to Okada and Keith's match, that takes a lot of the other wrestlers selling his moves and whatnot. But whenever he's doing a suicide dive coming at you, 20 miles an hour out of that ring, it looks very believable. It's legit. So he's definitely got the stuff. I know there's a lot of people like, oh, he's too small to be, AEW world champion, and MJF was better. Like,
mhm.
obviously, I'm sure Owen thinks MJF was better because he's MJF's biggest fan.
Yeah,
But
I mean, he's
Darby
better than you. He's better than
to be,
everyone,
yeah,
and
I
they
mean,
know
true, I
it.
do know that.
Yeah.
But Darby absolutely deserves to hold this world title for all he's done for this company, and just to see him put on banger after banger. Again, he's going to defend against Pac. That's going to be another banger. I'm interested to see, how hard he goes, considering he already, expended a lot of energy against Kevin Knight. But I'm sure he'll be well rested and ready to go come Saturday, and just can't wait to watch that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens next week. Um. So the whole show we were going, oh man, I hope MJF is here. Oh man, I think MJF's about to come out. As
Oh
a,
man, I don't think MJF will show up.
yeah, as the show kept going on, it became, oh no, he is not showing up. Then the match ended. We were like, oh no,
Sting
he's
came out.
definitely not. And then I heard that glorious music. My voice, I almost lost my voice on the spot. It was a great
We were
moment.
going crazy.
Dude, that was insane. And then he offered up his scarf.
Yeah, that was so funny. because he was like, "What do you want?" And then I went, "Your scarf." And he went, "I'll give you my scarf."
How could he
So I
offer
thought that
that?
was funny.
That was
Yeah,
And I got
terrible.
Darby told him if he wanted a title rematch, which Max obviously
Yeah.
does, he's begging for one the past 3 weeks now, since he lost that title, that he would have to put something on the line, and like you said, offered up the scarf, then offered up his dynamite
Diamond
ring,
ring. He has
offered up
that
a
every
million
year.
dollars, which I would have taken $1 million personally.
Yeah, I would
yeah, me
have.
too.
But
Yeah,
Darby's probably making a
Darby
million,
said
so it probably
no.
doesn't
Granted,
matter.
granted, I think the ring's like made out of like real diamond and stuff, so it might be worth a little more.
Yeah.
I think though, I might be wrong.
Mm, maybe. And then Darby said the worst thing possible. Darby said, I want the thing that makes you go to Turkey. He wants his hair. Why, I don't know. But I don't want to see a bald MJF. But we have a contract signing next week. If MJF does not show up, he never gets to go for the title. So he's going to show up. I will say before we started this, I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw it was a blurred image. It was like the way it was a post. It was one singular post, but you could tell it was MJF bald, like blurred, and you could just see all of MJF's tweets like, "Hey, stop this, delete this. Like, why would you do this? Blah blah blah." It was actually kind of funny. But Ethan, what do you think? Oh, I guess this is a weird one. It's for segments. It's really hard to be like, what are your thoughts on it? Because I mean, it's just a segment.
Yeah.
But do we just want to move on to Collision?
Well, I was gonna say real quick
Okay, never
too,
mind.
because
We'll
like you
tank or
said, he
something.
offered to take MJF's hair. Should he defeat him at Double or Nothing? Was MJF didn't say yes or no. He just dropped the mic and walked out. But that wasn't the end of just that whole
Hmm.
segment as well involving Darby Allin because Okada came out as well and demanded a world title shot. So very much like it was when MJF was champion. It seems like no matter who is world champion in All Elite Wrestling, that the world title scene is just red hot with talent, especially
Hmm.
with chasing the belt. So again, obviously Darby beat Kevin, going against Pac, has a contract signed with MJF, is probably going to wrestle Okada. Like there's so many options for him right now, and he's a wanted man for sure. He's a marked man, and he has to keep fighting to keep that belt for as long as possible.
Yeah. Ethan, do you want to say anything, or do you think we covered it all, and you just want to get on
I
to?
kind of covered it all. I
Okay.
mean, obviously, I don't know who had the louder pop, MJF or Adam Copeland. I truly don't. I'm still trying to figure that part out.
Well, guess we gotta watch it to
I
find
guess we
Yeah,
gotta
out.
rewatch it.
got to
Oh
go back
no!
and we got to see if we can see ourselves on TV
I
too.
guarantee you we can't.
You probably can't.
We're probably too
But
on the side.
Be able to. You lied to me.
Our dad lied to us. He thought he saw
no,
me.
I just didn't get it right.
Couldn't tell who his own son looks like.
He thought it was you, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it was a dude literally like
Uh,
3 seats to my right in the row in front of me.
that's funny.
Mm.
Close enough.
I mean, I guess. Anyway, we go on to Collision, where Speedball Mike Bailey went against AR Fox. That was a good match. I missed the ending because I was talking to two people. Thanks, guys. But I liked the match. It was a nice, solid opener. For Collision, it's just hard to after that amazing match for the championship. It's really hard to you know, try and one up it. So it's always gonna have that little but I liked it. Thought it was great. Ethan, what'd you think of the match?
It was a decent match. I mean, it's Collision. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
hard to get a lot out of it, but I mean, it was a decent match.
Yeah.
They did kind of bring the crowd down a little. I mean, a ton of them had already left by that
Yeah.
point as well.
That didn't
But
help.
I was also like super tired during this. I think I zoned out. I was like, oh.
Shame on you. Fake fan for real.
I thought it was a good match,
Mm-hmm.
especially like you said, Owen to open Collision, obviously transition out of Dynamite into Collision for the 1 hour special. I'm a big fan of Speedball Mike Bailey. Obviously,
Me
he
too.
was
I like him.
teamed at one point with Kevin Knight. They are now separate, pursuing
Yeah.
singles pushes.
I think it's all. I
But
think that's partly because Hangman wants to be a baby and not show up.
but yeah, they were part
Overrated.
of Jet Speed, and then at one point Jet Set Rodeo as well. So to have Kevin Knight close Dynamite and then Speedball open Collision, I thought was really neat to see. And I made a point to Ethan. You can clearly tell just based on Speedball's technique and kind of the poses he hits in the ring and stuff. He very heavily has like like karate, kung fu, taekwondo, like that sort of background just with like the kind of kicks he does, and you kind of saw him like doing like the bow in the ring and everything. But yeah, hit a power bomb for the win. I kind of saw that out of the corner of my eye because I was talking to Owen, but like I was still able to like half see it. So I was like, oh cool, we just got the win.
Yeah, it must
Yeah,
have been
it was a
nice to
it was
see
a
it.
cool finish. I won't lie, it was a really cool finish.
Yeah, that must have been sick.
It was sick.
Yeah. So glad he got the win. I honestly thought, and this is nothing against his opponent, but again, it was another Ring of Honor guy in AR Fox. So I was like, oh, this is, and not that Ring of Honor is a bad promotion or anything, because obviously they have AEW, but again, just kind of being like a lower level guy, I was like, oh, this probably could be like a squash match or something, and it was surprisingly not. It was a
Hmm.
really good
It
match.
was
Lasted a
surprisingly
pretty
competitive.
time. And again, AR looked really competitive against a guy as good as Speedball, who's a former trios champion. So thought that was really cool to see to open Collision, and just once again, glad Speedball got the win and just continues that singles push up the ladder.
Hmm. Yeah. So moving on to our next match, which I mean, it's a nice way, in my opinion, was the worst of the night. It's just my opinion. They did great, but it's Jamie Hayter versus Sky Blue. Um, I was kind of bored. I'm not gonna lie. Granted, we were we were kind of just waiting because we saw the time. We were like 30 minutes, almost 40 minutes into Collision, and we were like, we still got two more matches. How are they gonna fit this in an hour? So we were focused on that too. But yeah, I was kind of bored. Got to see Julia Hart though. Could see her through the crowd. When she was in the crowd, we could see like legit see her through the people, which was cool. Um, Ethan, you first. What'd you think?
I didn't think it was a bad match. I mean, it wasn't the best, but it wasn't a bad match. It was a little slow though. But
Yeah.
I'm not biased.
Mm, I don't know about that, bro. You might be a
I'm not
tad
biased.
biased. You might be a little biased. Thomas, when you say he's a little biased toward this match,
I think he's just upset that
Sky Blue
Sky Blue.
lost.
Yeah,
She almost did. She almost won. Okay, she almost had the win.
But
Almost. I
she
actually thought she
didn't.
was gonna win. Yeah, there was a time like I think it was like towards the start of the match, and I literally turned to Thomas and I was like, I don't think she is winning.
yeah,
And
that's
then
she's not gonna win. I was like,
and
oh,
then she like legit almost won. I was like, oh my gosh. And then she lost. I was like, frick.
We did see her early in the day, like when we got there early. She was in the little parking lot the talent used. That was
Yeah.
cool.
She didn't see us, but we saw
Well, yeah. Okay, now
her.
weirdo. I don't want to
That was
talk.
the
I don't want
point.
Ethan to speak anymore.
No, I literally said it that way.
All in
That,
favor, say
that was the
aye.
point. No,
Aye. Oh, Thomas didn't say
nay.
it.
That
Thomas
was
didn't.
literally that was the point of the bit.
Thomas,
Because
say
like
aye.
will not pick a side. I'm just
it was literally why I suggested we just go on ahead and wait in line because I thought it was weird that we were just watching
I
them.
suggested that.
No, no, you didn't, little bro.
I'm so distracted by that light in the corner of Ethan's room. Just the sun just.
When did it get so bright? That was a legit question.
Thomas, what did you think of the match?
Very clearly, they were trying to put Jamie
Hater.
Hater over. And the guys next to us, to our left, were very pro Jamie Hayter.
Yeah.
Those people, they were loud all night. I know we kind of that's been a recurring thing. We keep saying the crowd was loud, but those people especially that were in the row in front of us, directly
Okay.
to our left. There was some loud people, and they were very pro Jamie Hayter. And so obviously they were very glad she got to win. But it was really cool to see, because Sky Blue, part of the Triangle of Madness. Jamie Hayter, part of the Brawling Birds. They've been kind of having beef with each other, going back and forth. So, you kind of settle that in singles action, and to see, two of the more premier wrestlers in the women's division, AEW, go 1-1, I thought was really cool. Again, like we said, Ethan's a big Sky Blue fan, so that was cool for me to see her for the first time, because he had hyped her up a lot. And obviously it didn't get the win, but saw her hit a couple suplexes. That was cool. But Jamie Hayter, loved the name of her finisher. It's called the Haterade. That was really cool to see her hit from the top rope. And then, as she was walking back to the backstage after picking up the win, Tekla and Julia Hart made their way down, from the stands. And like Owen said, we looked over to our right. We're like, oh my gosh, there she is. Like we could see her in between the people. I didn't see Tekla, unfortunately. Would have been cool,
Me
especially
neither.
against
I
the
literally
ring.
like
Uh,
moved my head that way, and then just in between the crowd of people, I just see this
Julia Hart.
blonde
Yeah.
woman with the light on her. I was like, oh my gosh.
Why
I
is
saw people take their phones out, and I was like,
yeah?
what? Like, looking over here,
Yeah,
what's
in the
going
corner of my eye, I
on?
just see everyone like this.
Part
I'm
of me
like,
thought
what?
someone was fighting. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, why is everyone focused over
Yeah,
here?
and then I look at the like the little stage thing, and they had
Titantron?
well, it's not really Titantron.
Might as well be. Anyway.
But
Yeah.
I looked up on the stage, and it showed where the camera was showing, and it was them two. I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was gonna say something, I forgot it. Dang it. Oh yeah. Why is it every time someone's in the crowd,
it's like on the
they're
other
on
side
the
of us.
other side? Why is it never next to us? I don't get it. Every time. Not one show. I don't get it.
Mm-mm.
Is it us?
Yeah, so they do not want to see you, Owen. They don't want to see you.
Am I the problem?
Tony Khan was like, "Oh, this is where Owen Erksleben is sitting. Have him come through the other
I
side."
don't know.
He kind
Well, I
of
mean, he probably thought I was the other guy. How do you wear a Braves hat? Like this, like right next to me, bro. I wear the Braves hat.
Mm.
Anyway, on to honestly, I kind of don't even want to talk about this one because it lasted less than a minute. But Roosh versus Maddie Lowe.
Oh man. So
Roosh won. Anyway,
I say this every time it happens just because it just irks me so much. They'll be like, "Oh, so and so, like insert wrestling
in
name in
action.
action." That's just code for squash match. Like the second I saw, I was like, "Oh, Roosh in action." I was like, "Oh, incoming squash." I looked at Ethan. I said, "Over under a minute." He said over. It was 40 seconds long.
Yeah.
Did
it
not
was
Ethan,
lie.
20 seconds short of being
Ethan
right,
would
and
have
man,
lost. Yeah.
So I mean, I guess congrats to Roosh, but like if you're
Yeah.
going into jobber and all you do is win squash matches, like it's not really that impressive. So I
Mm-mm.
mean, it is a win, but I can't put too much stock into it with how it happened. Obviously, they're booking him to be this dominant force.
But it's against
Um,
jobbers.
yeah, exactly. Like put him against someone credible, like how when Darby squashed MJF to win the world title. That was came out of nowhere, was completely unpredictable, and you're like, oh my gosh, like he just beat the best wrestler on the roster. So like it meant something. Obviously, even if it wasn't for the title, it still would have meant something because it's MJF.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you bring that up? That was a dark day. How
Oh yeah, his
dare
reign of
you?
terror, as MJF called. I forgot to mention that he called it his reign of terror.
Yeah, we're stuck in Darby's reign of terror.
Yeah.
Let it in. Give it back to MJF. And now on to our official main event. We have the Young Bucks of Matt and Nick Jackson and the Bang Bang Gang, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, and Ace Austin going against the Death Riders, which is Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and Daniel Garcia, teaming with the Dogs, David Finley and Clark Connors. I'm going to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, this match was a little bit of a letdown. I liked
Mm-hmm.
it, don't get me wrong. I just was expecting more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree personally.
Mm-hmm.
And
When
this is nothing against
yeah.
the Bang Bang Gang and the Guns because obviously I was
Well,
doing
that
DX the
was,
whole time,
yeah, and the whole
and I
time
had
Thomas is
the
going
Guns.
like the
Yeah,
whole match.
I was
I'm
doing
like,
the
dude,
crotch stuff, like, dude, I was just so excited, bro. It's Billy Gunn's
I
sons,
know.
uh,
I just thought it was funny.
and but the reason I didn't like it that much is I just felt like the Bucks weren't in it enough. Like they weren't tagged
Yeah.
in. Like
Just
they very clearly were trying to make, and honestly, I get it. They just came back on Collision this past Saturday,
yeah,
so they wanted to give them a match and have them featured, especially in the main event. But it just felt like the Guns were the central focus, and that's usually just not the case in a match where the Young Bucks are involved. Like typically, they're the stars of the show with their super kicks and whatnot.
I,
And honestly, they were still in it a good bit. They just weren't in it as much as I would have liked personally.
yeah. I
Yeah.
just I want to. I don't even want to say it was too spotty because there wasn't even that felt like that many spots. I mean, they just beat up. One group was beating up one member, and then they just reversed it, and then the next group was beating up one member. That's all it felt
Yeah,
like.
that's what 5-man tag matches are like. Because I watched one, and it was the same thing. It was the Young Bucks on Collision, and it was just, oh, this group would wipe out the other group. They would clothesline all of them over the rope, and then like 5 minutes later, the other group would clothesline them over the rope. So they're very predictable, and they follow kind of a formula. They're very formulaic in
Yeah.
that regard. But I will say, because you brought up the spots, seeing the Young Bucks and Bang Bang Gang do a quadruple suplex was really cool. And it's really neat, especially the Young Bucks obviously with their super kicks, but just in general, all 5 men just being so in sync
Hmm.
at the exact same time for their moves, just how synchronized they are, especially with those super kicks. It was just really a sight to behold. And I thought it was a really good overall main event.
Yeah.
It was just hard to live up to the absolute banger that Darby Allen put on, absolute
Mm.
banger that Moxley opened with. And I just really wanted more from the Young Bucks. Happy they got the win,
Yeah.
obviously. And Matt and Nick Jackson were doing their best to hype up the crowd because
It was kind
anytime
of dead.
guys were in trouble, they would just start clapping. And like you said, it was a little dead because people had left early.
And they'd been
To
there since
go to work the next day,
7
whatever it
o'clock.
was. Obviously with it being a 3-hour show, kind of dragged on, but still a good match overall. Bleacher Report gave it a grade of a B.
That's fair.
But I just thought it was really cool to see both the Guns uh, and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson in person
Hmm.
because you guys have been telling me, and I've been watching them for months now on television that they are the best tag team in AEW. So really cool to
Mm-hmm.
see them, and then to give some love to the Death Riders as well. So that's not just all talk about Bang Bang and the Young Bucks. It was really cool to see Claudio Castagnoli have no clue what he even calls it, but where he picks somebody up and just
Yeah.
spins
We
them
finally saw the
on their feet.
spin. I think I've seen
That
it,
was
but
really
but
cool. And you guys are telling me, he's just a freak athlete.
Yeah.
Uh,
he said that. But
so
yeah,
showing
he is.
his athleticism on display was really cool to see. Definitely, I'd say after Mox, the second strongest member of the Death Riders.
No, it's definitely Claudio
Yeah.
in terms of like
That's what I said.
actually.
Claudio.
No, you said Mox. After you said
I
after
said
Mox.
after Mox.
No,
Oh yeah,
Mox.
sorry.
Claudio is
You
number
think
one.
I misheard you? Sorry. You-
What a show. Ethan, do you got anything to say for?
Yeah, I did. I do. Blah, blah, blah. I wish
Yeah.
this match was a little bit better.
Hmm.
Obviously, it was good. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like there was too much going on, and also at the start, they took so long to get into it because I think they were on commercial break
Hmm.
that they just like replayed like the same song for like the dogs, and it
Hmm.
was just very awkward because the
yeah, they
Death
just
Riders had,
in the ring.
yeah, the Death Riders had like no idea what to do. Sort of, they were kind of just walking around,
Hmm.
and it was just like you could have had like the lights go out or something and play some like what WWE does or something.
Yeah, do
Play
something.
like a video package, instead of making us wait like 5 minutes. But it was good. I'm glad I got to see the Young Bucks wrestle
Mm-hmm.
and do the suck it at the end of the show. It was pretty fun.
So good. Yeah, that was sick.
But
Happy I got to do that too.
I
yeah,
told John Moxley to suck it, and Owen got mad at me. He's like, "Hey,
Don't
don't you
that
ever
is
do that?"
true.
you ever tell him to do that.
Because Mox was on commentary, and obviously his team lost. So I was like, "Hey, John Moxley, suck it!" And
Are
then
you
the
the one that
crowd.
wants his book?
Yeah,
That
I
How
is
can
mean,
you
true.
tell him to suck it when you want his book so bad?
it
Yeah,
was for the bit. I had to do it.
hypocrite. No,
Yeah, for
how
the
dare
bit,
you?
sure.
How could you? Anyway, kind of all I got with the show. It was overall a really amazing show. Had a lot of fun.
A,
Yeah,
just overall show grade A plus. I
A
may be
plus,
biased because it's my first AW show, but it delivered 100%.
and
Yeah,
recency bias.
yeah. Obviously, I don't sound super enthusiastic with this because we got home very late because it was a hour drive and everything.
And we had to go to
But
work.
yeah, work and everything. I have a really bad headache right now. But I loved the show. I thought it was absolutely amazing, and I even said I think that was probably my favorite wrestling event that I've been to because it was just so much fun and exciting. Seeing so many wrestlers and just having really good matches.
Hmm.
It was just awesome. I loved it. And Dave Meltzer can shut up about the attendance. Who cares?
Yeah, I saw him say that.
Tony Khan did say at the end of the show he thanked Charleston for being a faithful supporter of AEW and said he hopes to come back soon. So hopefully they do because I would
Well,
love to
he
go
Yeah,
said
again.
that when he was in Colombia as well,
yeah.
and
Still
that
waiting
was
on him to come
three
back to
years ago.
Columbia. What's up with that,
It
Tony
was 3
Khan?
years ago, and it still hasn't happened.
Tony Khan,
Probably because they're
please,
way too big.
please, Tony Khan.
Please speed, I need this.
I'm never
But
gonna do
yeah, good, very great show
that.
actually. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm very glad we went.
Yeah. If you got this far, like, subscribe. If you're listening to us on Spotify, which I'm sure you're not, please please listen. Please, come on, please. Um, yeah. We hope to do another episode. And before I leave, I want to say Thomas, who's the biggest Cody Rhodes fan, said he would pick Orange Cassidy before him. All right, see ya.